Hello and welcome to the Daily News Simplified, the why, what, and how of newspaper reading. Today we will discuss the daily edition of the Hindu newspaper dated 17th August 2018. So let's start. The news article on page number 3 is related to Bhaitarkanika National Park. Now it will form a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic General Issues on Environment and Ecology. Now, this article is in news because the Odisha government is setting up a world class interpretation center at Dangamal near the Bhaitarkanika National Park. And it is being developed to showcase its effort in protecting crocodiles and preserving its rich mangrove diversity. And the project has been approved under the Integrated Coastal Zone Management Project. Now, regarding the previous year questions that were asked in the prelims, the question that was asked in the year 2011 was directly related to the Bhaitarkanika National Park. Another question that was asked in 2011 was related to the mangrove forests. In the year 2015, a question was asked related to another national park. However, Bhaitarkanika National Park was mentioned as an option in that question. And the question that was asked in the year 2014 required us to identify the confluence of rivers and the associated wetland or the national park. Now, these are some types of questions that are related to national parks. So, after the end of this discussion, we will try to answer these questions and understand the importance and the way UPSC asks questions on national parks. Now, about the Bhaitarkanika mangroves or the Bhaitarkanika wetland, it is represented by three protected areas. The first is the Bhaitarkanika National Park, which is represented by dark green color in this map. Second is the Bhaitarkanika Wildlife Sanctuary, which surrounds the Bhaitarkanika National Park and is shown by light green color in this diagram. And the third is the Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary, and it lies to the east of the Bhaitarkanika National Park. So these are the three protected areas which form the part of Bhaitarkanika wetland or the Bhaitarkanika mangroves. Further, the Bhaitarkanika National Park or the Bhaitarkanika mangroves are located in the Kendrapara district in Odisha, and it is also designated as a Ramsar site in 2002. So these are some of the important facts that are related to the Bhaitarkanika mangroves. Now, in any discussion that is related to national park or wildlife sanctuaries, the areas that one should understand are the important or the unique flora of that national park, important fauna of that national park, and the rivers that pass through that national park, or if the national park is located at the confluence of two or more rivers. So these are some of the important areas which should be understood when one is trying to understand the national parks or wildlife sanctuaries. Now, regarding the flora of Bhaitarkanika National Park, it is famous for its mangrove forests. Further, an important function or uniqueness of mangrove forests is that it acts as a bioshield. And these mangrove forests are unique because they have deep roots. And due to these deep roots, they do not get uprooted by cyclones or the tsunami waves. So this is an important characteristic of mangrove forests. And this is why they act as bioshields. So in 1999, when coastal Odisha was battered by a super cyclone, the rich mangrove forest had then acted as a bioshield, and there was very little impact of cyclone in the mangrove forested regions. So that is why mangrove forests are very important, because they act as a bioshield against some of the natural disasters like the cyclones and the tsunamis. Now, regarding the fauna of the Bhaitarkanika National Park, it has one of the largest populations of endangered saltwater crocodile. So this is another important fact that should be remembered. And we know that the olive ridley turtles nest in the Gahirmatha Marine Sanctuary. So these aspects of flora and fauna of Bhaitarkanika National Park are important for us. Now, regarding the location of Bhaitarkanika National Park, it lies in the estuarine region of Brahmani and Baitarni rivers. So the location of Bhaitarkanika National Park is at the confluence of Brahmani and Baitarni rivers. Now, about these rivers, the Brahmani river is found by confluence of the rivers South Koyal and Shank near the Raurkela. And both the Shank and South Koyal have their origin in the Chota Nagpur plateau in Jharkhand. However, the Baitarni river originates from Gonasika or Gupta Ganga hills in Odisha. So the Shank and South Koyal originate from Jharkhand, while the Baitarni river originates in Odisha. And at the confluence of both Brahmani and Baitarni rivers, the Bhaitarkanika National Park is located. Now, as you can see in this map, the Shank and the South Koyal rivers originate in the Jharkhand, and they meet at Raurkela and form the Brahmani river, while the Baitarni river originates in Gupta Ganga hills in Odisha. And at the confluence of both the Baitarni and the Brahmani river, the Bhaitarkanika National Park is located. So the approach with which we have discussed the Bhaitarkanika National Park can be used for studying other national parks as well. And that will help you a lot in preparing for the prelims examination. Now regarding the question that was asked in the year 2011, the question reads, two important rivers, one with its source in Jharkhand and known by different name in Odisha, and another with its source in Odisha, merge at a place only a short distance from the coast of Bay of Bengal before flowing into the sea. So the question is talking about two important rivers. So one is the Brahmani river and the other is the Baitarni river. So Brahmani river has its origin in Jharkhand while the Baitarni river has its source in Odisha only. And this is an important site of wildlife and biodiversity and a protected area. Which one of the following could be this? So the correct answer in this case was Bhaitarkanika. In the year 2011, another question was asked which read, the 2004 tsunami made people realize that mangroves can serve as reliable safety hedge against coastal calamities. How do mangroves function as a safety hedge? So the correct answer in this case was the unique aspect of mangrove forests, and that is the mangrove trees do not get uprooted by storms and tides because of their extensive roots. So this is the important characteristics of mangrove trees or forests, and this makes these forests resilient to natural calamities like tsunami and cyclones. Now regarding the question that was asked in 2015, the question reads, which of the following national park is unique in being a swamp with floating vegetation that supports a rich biodiversity? The correct answer in this case was B, that is Kebul Lamjao National Park in Manipur. However, you can see that Bhaitarkanika National Park is also mentioned in the option. So what you should do is, you should try and learn about all the national parks that are mentioned in the options in the previous year questions. For example, you should try and learn about the Kevladev Ghana National Park, the Sultanpur National Park, etc. Further, you can see that in the year 2015, another question was asked related to the confluence of the rivers and the associated wetland or the national park. The correct answer in this case was that the Harike wetland is located at the confluence of Bias and Satluj river. So the correct answer in this case was A, one only. So now you should try and learn about the rivers that pass through Kevladev National Park and the Kolleru Lake. So this analysis gives us an idea about the approach that should be used while learning the national parks or wildlife sanctuaries. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 16 is related to a more secure version of UPI or the Unified Payments Interface that has been released by the National Payments Corporation of India or the NPCI. So this will form a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic Economic Development. And previously in the year 2017, a question was asked related to the UPI or the Unified Payments Interface. And another question that was asked in 2017 was related to the National Payments Corporation of India. Further, in the year 2018, another question was asked related to the National Payments Corporation of India. So let us try to understand some of the key features of the National Payments Corporation of India and some of the aspects of the Unified Payments Interface and also the new features of the Unified Payments Interface. And at the end of this discussion, we will try to answer these questions. Now, why is this article in news? The article says that the National Payments Corporation of India or the NPCI has launched UPI 2.0 as an upgrade to the Unified Payments Interface, which was introduced in the April 2016. So the NPCI has come up with a new version of UPI, that is UPI 2.0. Now this new UPI has enhanced security features and can be linked to overdraft accounts. So the new features in the UPI are that it has enhanced security features and it can be linked to overdraft accounts. And overdraft accounts are the ones in which a person can withdraw money up to a limit even when he has a zero balance. For example, a person can withdraw up to rupees 5,000 even when he has a zero balance under the Jan Dhan accounts. Now let us understand some of the facts that are related to the National Payments Corporation of India. So it is an umbrella organization for operating retail payments and settlement systems in India. And it is an initiative of Reserve Bank of India and Indian Banks Association IBA. And it has been created under the provisions of Payments and Settlements Act 2007 for creating a robust payment and settlement infrastructure in India. So it has been created by this act, that is the Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007. Further, it provides infrastructure to the entire banking system in India. And it provides this infrastructure for both physical as well as electronic payment and settlement systems. Now, this point should be kept in mind that it provides infrastructure for both physical as well as electronic payment and settlement systems. Now, the recent achievements of NPCI or National Payments Corporation of India are that first, the Unified Payments Interface, and it aims to move India to a cashless society with only digital transactions. Further, RuPay is a domestic card payment network, and the Bheem app is a smartphone app built using the UPI interface. So these are some of the facts that are related to NPCI or National Payments Corporation of India, and these are important for us from prelims point of view. So now let us understand what is Unified Payments Interface or the UPI. So UPI is a payment system that allows money transfer between any two bank accounts by using a smartphone. And UPI allows a customer to pay directly from a bank account to different merchants both online and offline without the hassle of typing the card details, IFSC code, or net banking or wallet passwords. So by using UPI, one can transfer money by using a smartphone, and it also allows a customer to pay directly from a bank account to different merchants both online and offline. And it is different from the previous online payment systems. Now, how is the UPI unique? It is unique because it provides for immediate money transfer through mobile device round the clock, that is 24/7 and 365 days. Further, single mobile application is provided for accessing different bank accounts. So it integrates different bank accounts under one mobile application. Further, it is a single click and two-factor authentication system. And the UPI provides a virtual address to the customer which he can use for transactions. And it provides for incremental security and is not required to enter the details such as the card numbers, the account numbers, or the IFSC code. So simply the UPI provides a virtual address to the customer which he can use for transactions. It means that it simplifies the transactions for the customers. So now what are the new features in the UPI 2.0? First is that it links overdraft accounts to UPI. Previously the UPI linked only the saving accounts and the current accounts. However, the new UPI version links the overdraft accounts as well. And in an overdraft account, even if a person has a zero balance, he can withdraw an amount up to a limit. As we have discussed earlier, for example, Jan Dhan account. Further, the UPI 2.0 allows customer to check their invoice sent by the merchants prior to making the payments. So this means that a customer can first check the invoice and then make the payment. Further, the customers can pay post verifying the amount and other important details mentioned in the invoice. Thirdly, the customers would be able to check the authenticity of the merchant while scanning the QR code, and it would notify the user with information to ascertain whether the merchant is UPI verified or not. So the QR code scanning process provides for merchant verification. So these two steps make it more secure. And finally, it allows the customers to pre-authorize a transaction and pay a later date. For example, a customer can pre-authorize the transaction for the payments of phone bills, electricity bills, etc. So these are some of the new features which make it more secure, and it has extended some of the facilities. For example, it links the overdraft accounts and it enables the customer to pre-authorize the transaction and pay the amount at a later date. Now looking at the question that was asked in 2017, the question reads, which of the following is a most likely consequence of implementing the Unified Payments Interface or UPI? The first option reads, mobile wallets will not be necessary for online payments. Now this option is correct. However, this question can also be solved by eliminating the other options. For example, let us look at the option B. It reads, digital currency will totally replace the physical currency in about 2 decades. So this statement is incorrect because physical currency will exist along with the digital currency as well. Thirdly, FDI inflows will increase drastically. This statement is also incorrect because UPI does not have any relation with FDI inflows. And the fourth option is direct transfer of subsidies to poor people will become very effective. And this statement is also incorrect because UPI has no relation with the transfer of subsidies. And for transfer of subsidies, we know that there is a trinity called Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile, or the JAM trinity. So by eliminating these options, this question can be easily solved. The second question that was asked in 2017 reads, consider the following statement. The first statement reads, the NPCI helps in promoting the financial inclusion in the country. Now this statement is correct, And the second statement says that the NPCI has launched RuPay, a card payment scheme. And this statement is also correct. And the correct answer in this case is C, both 1 and 2. The question that was asked in 2018 reads, which one of the following links all ATMs in India? The correct answer in this case is the National Payments Corporation of India. So we notice that there have been questions based on the NPCI and the UPI. So this topic becomes important for us from prelims point of view. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 20 is related to the setting up of a gravitational wave observatory in Maharashtra and is known as the Ligo. So this will form a part of the preliminary examination syllabus under the topic current events of national and international importance. Now previously in the year 2017, a question was asked related to a project which was related to the gravitational waves. Now this article is in news because the Environment Ministry has allowed scientists to test the suitability of land in Maharashtra's Hingoli district to host India's wing of ambitious laser interferometer gravitational wave observatory or the LIGO project. So this is in news because the Environment Ministry has allowed the scientists to test the suitability of land for the establishment of LIGO observatory in India. Now let us try to understand some of the key facts related to the LIGO project. Now the LIGO project is important for India because 30 people of Indian origin are part of the LIGO project. Further, the LIGO project aims at detecting the cosmic gravitational waves. So the main objective or the aim of the LIGO project is to detect the cosmic gravitational waves. Further, the gravitational waves are ripples in the fabric of space-time and are caused by some of the most violent and energetic processes in the universe. So these are simply the ripples in fabric of space-time and are caused by violent and energetic processes in the universe. And these processes include catastrophic events like colliding of black holes, the collapse of stellar cores or the supernova, coalescing of neutron stars or white dwarf stars, wobbly rotation of neutron stars that are not perfect spheres and are remnants of the gravitational radiations created by the birth of universe itself. So these are some of the processes through which the gravitational waves are produced. Further, Albert Einstein had predicted the existence of gravitational waves in 1916 in his general theory of relativity. So the LIGO project aims at detecting the cosmic gravitational waves, and gravitational waves are ripples in the fabric of space and time caused by most violent and energetic processes in the universe. And these violent or energetic processes include colliding black holes and the collapse of stellar cores, etc. Further, Albert Einstein had predicted the existence of gravitational waves in 1916 in his general theory of relativity. Now let us understand some of the facts that are related to the LIGO India project. Now this project is being piloted by the Department of Atomic Energy or the DAE and the Department of Science and Technology. Further, the LIGO project operates 3 gravitational wave detectors, 2 of which are located at Hanford in the state of Washington and 1 is located in Livingston in Louisiana in southeastern USA. So the proposed LIGO India project aims to move one advanced LIGO detector from Hanford to India. So for us, the important point is that it is being piloted by the Department of Atomic Energy and the Department of Science and Technology. Now regarding the question that was asked in the year 2017, the question read, what is the purpose of Evolved Laser Interferometer Space Antenna or the ELISA project? Now this is a combined project of European Space Agency and NASA and it is related to the detection of gravitational waves. So simply UPSC asks questions based on the purpose or the objective of any new scientific project by major space agencies of the world. So it is an important approach for studying science and technology related news articles. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 7 is related to Mullaperiyar Dam. And this topic falls under the General Studies paper 2 of the mains examination syllabus under the topic Indian polity. So basically it is an issue of interstate river water dispute. And this is in news because Mullaperiyar Dam is located in Kerala and it is facing the worst floods in the past 100 years. So this news article is related to a direction by the Supreme Court to the Tamil Nadu and Kerala governments. So let us try to understand the articles that are related to interstate river water dispute and the Mullaperiyar Dam issue. Now regarding this news article, a petition was filed in Supreme Court by a resident who lives in the downstream area of the Mullaperiyar Dam in Idukki district of Kerala. And this petition highlighted that the high water level in dam may become dangerous for people living in downstream areas. Further, the petition highlighted that there was no coordination between the states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala on the issue of management of water level in the dam. And the third issue that is highlighted by the petition is that the states also lacked a disaster management plan in case of any catastrophe or natural calamity like floods. So these are the 3 points that have been highlighted by a petition that was filed by a resident who lives in the downstream area of Mullaperiyar Dam. And in this ongoing case, the Supreme Court has made following observations. The Supreme Court has told the states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu that an effort has to be made to bring the water level in the Mullaperiyar Dam to 139 feet, so that the people living downstream of the dam do not live in constant fear because of the fear of floods. Further, the Supreme Court has observed that the authorities should notify a disaster management plan for the public in Kerala so that people do not suffer a catastrophe in case of an emergency. And thirdly, the court has asked Kerala and Tamil Nadu to bury their differences and work with the Union Cabinet Secretary led National Crisis Management Committee to find a way to reduce the water level in the dam so that the disaster of floods in Kerala does not turn into a catastrophe. So the Supreme Court has made these 3 observations to avert any catastrophe due to floods, in which it has asked the states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu to reduce the water level to 139 feet and has also asked the authorities to notify a disaster management plan. Further, the court has asked the states of Kerala and Tamil Nadu to bury their differences and work with National Crisis Management Committee to find a way to reduce the water level in the dam. So now let us try to understand what is the issue with the Mullaperiyar Dam and why has Supreme Court made such observations. Now let us understand some of the key facts that are related to the Mullaperiyar Dam and the issue or the problem that is associated with this dam. Now the Mullaperiyar Dam is a dam which is built over the river Periyar in the state of Kerala, and it was built in the year 1895 during the British colonial rule, and it was predicted that it has a lifespan of 50 years. So it was supposed to be functional only till 1945. However, this dam is still functional and there are fears of a disaster waiting to happen. Further, the purpose of the dam was to divert water eastward towards the Madras Presidency or the present day Tamil Nadu. So this dam was built in the state of Kerala in order to divert the water from Kerala to the Madras Presidency or the present day Tamil Nadu. And this dam is located in Kerala, but it is operated and maintained by Tamil Nadu state. So it is a unique feature about this dam, and it is a special arrangement that has been made about this dam. Further, it is located on the Cardamom Hills in the Western Ghats in Idukki district of Kerala. So we should understand that the predicted lifespan of this dam was only 50 years and which was completed in the year 1945 itself. And as it has been functional for more than 120 years, there are chances that a disaster could happen due to flood-like situation. And this dam was created to divert the water to the Madras Presidency, and it is operated and maintained by Tamil Nadu while it is located in the state of Kerala. So the problem with this dam is that the dam has surpassed its lifespan by more than 66 years, as it was predicted that its lifespan would only be 50 years. Further, it poses a threat to the lives of 3.5 million people living in 5 districts of Kerala. And as this dam is located in Kerala and is being operated by Tamil Nadu, this issue has been a bone of contention for both states, as both these states are not able to come to any consensus on its reconstruction. Further, the experts have pointed out that the Mullaperiyar Dam is a disaster waiting to happen. So what we have understood is that the dam has crossed its lifespan, and due to a dispute between Kerala and Tamil Nadu, there has been no consensus on its reconstruction. And as the dam has surpassed its lifespan of 50 years, the experts have pointed out that the Mullaperiyar Dam is a disaster waiting to happen. Now, as it is a matter of interstate river water dispute, let us try to understand the article of the Constitution that deals with the interstate river water disputes. So, the Article 262 of the Constitution provides for adjudication of interstate water disputes, and it makes 2 provisions. The first provision is that Parliament may by law provide for adjudication of any dispute or complaint with respect to the use, distribution and control of waters of any interstate river and river valley. So the point that should be noted is that the Parliament has the power to make law on interstate river water dispute. Further, the Parliament may also provide that neither the Supreme Court nor any other court is to exercise jurisdiction in respect of any such dispute or complaint. So, the Parliament can also provide that any dispute that is of the nature of interstate river water dispute cannot be challenged in Supreme Court or any other court. And under this provision, the Parliament has enacted two laws. First is the River Boards Act 1956 and the Interstate Water Disputes Act 1956. So these are some points which should be kept in mind from prelims point of view, which are related to the interstate river water disputes. With this, let us move on to the next article. The news article on page number 16 is related to the currency crisis in Turkey. Now this will form a part of the General Studies paper 2 under the topic Effect of Policies and Politics of Developed and Developing Countries on India's Interests. Further, it is also important for us from economy point of view. So let us try to understand what are the issues that are related to the Turkey's currency crisis and what will be its likely impact on the emerging markets. Now the article says that there has been a brewing crisis in the currencies of the emerging markets, and it further explains the reasons for the crisis in currencies of the emerging markets. Now the article explains that in the past, the emerging smaller economies such as the Turkey and Argentina and others heavily borrowed US dollar at low interest rate from the global markets in the past. This means that previously, the emerging smaller economies borrowed in US dollar at low interest rate from global markets. So the article says that, however, this caused high accumulation of debt in US dollar in the smaller emerging economies. This means that the debt of the smaller emerging economies was dominated by the US dollar. The article explains that in the current scenario, there was a slowdown in the economic growth in smaller emerging economies, while the Europe and US have shown a good economic growth. So now this scenario has turned around and the economies of US and Europe are performing well, while those of smaller economies are now not performing very well. And these emerging or smaller emerging economies are facing a slowdown. Now, due to the change in scenario, that is, the improvement in the economies of Europe and US, there was a reversal of capital flow wherein the investors began to reinvest in the United States and the European economies. And it led to a decrease in the investment sentiments in smaller or the emerging economies. So due to the improvement in US and European economies, the capital flows started moving towards US and European economies, while the investors' sentiment decreased in the smaller emerging economies. Further changes in the United States interest rate caused US bonds and securities market to provide higher yield or higher returns to the investors. So the change in the interest rate by the United States Federal Reserve led to increased return to the investors. And due to higher returns, the investors started investing in the economies of United States and Europe, and they moved away their investments from the emerging economies. Further, the recent tariff wars between the US and other countries has created an uncertainty in global economy. And due to this, the major investors are moving towards the United States' economy, because the protectionist moves are likely to disturb the smaller or the emerging economies further. Now, what is the impact of all these developments on the United States' dollar? So, the US dollar has now started to grow stronger in comparison to the currencies of emerging economies, and this has been largely due to favorable policies by the United States Federal Reserve, devaluation or depreciation of the currencies by emerging economies to make their exports more profitable. For example, Argentina has devalued its currency to make its exports more profitable. And there has been reversal of capital flow to US due to appreciation of US dollar. So the United States dollar has improved as compared to other economies due to following reasons. Now, why are the emerging economies concerned with this appreciation of the United States dollar? The article explains that the strengthening of US dollar and decrease in the valuation in currencies of emerging economies has caused an increase in their debt repayment. Now, this can be understood by an example. Earlier, $1 was equivalent to 5 lira, and lira is the currency of Turkey. So, if Turkey had a debt of $100, it had to pay 500 liras. But now, due to depreciation, the Turkey's lira has dropped by 40% and its value has become $1 equal to 7 lira. So, for a debt of $100, Turkey will now have to pay 700 lira. So, this has led to an increase in the debt repayment. The article further explains that similarly, the increase in oil prices and a stronger United States dollar and weaker domestic currencies has led to an increased payment for oil dependent smaller emerging economies. Also, the smaller emerging economies now have to borrow dollar at an increased interest rate. This is because everybody is now chasing the United States' dollar. And due to this, the demand for dollar has increased. And this has led to an increased interest rate for the smaller emerging economies borrowers. Now, similar concerns are being shown for the Indian rupee, and the economists are concerned whether the crisis with the smaller emerging economies would be contagious to the large emerging economies like India. However, they contend that India has a stronger economic growth rate, stable forex reserve, and lower exposure to debt in the United States dollar. Therefore, the current crisis in currencies of smaller emerging economies on India is likely to be very low. However, this is a news in transition, and let us wait for the story to develop further. So now let us understand the whole scenario with the help of a flow chart. So earlier, the smaller economies borrowed in US dollar, and this led to an increase in the debt for the smaller economies. Further, there was a slowdown in smaller economies, and there was increased growth in United States and Euro. This led to increased investments in United States. And as a result, the dollar became stronger. So the impact of all these events on smaller economies is that the smaller economies now have to pay increased debt repayment. And this is because of the depreciation in the currencies of smaller economies. Further, these events have led to increased payment for oil. And also, the dollar debt has now become expensive for smaller economies because of increased interest rates. And the economists are contending that the impact of this depreciation in the currencies of smaller economies is likely to be contagious and will affect other economies as well. With this, let us move on to the next article. With this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. Now, let us move on to the question for the day.